Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are in the glowing sea, not so glowing today, but we're at the Brotherhood of Steel communication tower. You would have seen this location and our Sentinel robots, the Minutemen Sentinel robots, fighting the Enclave in the previous video. Let's have a look at a little clip now. So initially the Brotherhood lost this communication tower to the Enclave, but then with the Sentinel robots, here's one here, the Enclave were driven back further into the glowing sea over the mountains, and kind of peace has returned. Now the Brotherhood have the tower back, but I thought I would put a Sentinel robot up here on the hill just to patrol the area to make sure the Enclave don't attack it again. And in today's video, I'm going to go through the build process of getting one of these guys up and running. It is a static piece. It does work as a turret, but they don't walk around, unfortunately. I don't have the brains or the skills to make this in the creation kit, get it all rigged and animated. But I feel the process is fairly straightforward, that you could do it at home. So let's get into it now. I'm going to go back in time and start from scratch. Okay, so I'm just up on the hill above the communications tower, and I've chosen this location to build our Sentinels. There's basically 3 mods that you will need. You can simplify it further if you like, if you sort of just have the CVC Dead Wastelands mod, because we are mostly using that, as well as the Place Everywhere mod. We need this because we need to do sort of precise rotation and scaling, so you do definitely need those 2 mods. But we're also going to use the Kuro tab for kind of the main body and the eyes. So you could probably get away with it with just the CVC mod and the Place Everywhere, but we're going to do the proper Sentinel on this video, and I'll go through that process now. So the first thing you want to do is bring up your workshop menu here and go to the CVC Dead Wastelands mod, and if you go to the decorations tab, and if you go over to the household tab and go over to Dead Robot, it gives you a whole bunch of junky robot pieces, and we're going to grab a few pieces from this particular part. So if we go over to this one here, there's some Mr. Handy, I guess, legs and things. So we're going to go grab 2 of these. These are going to be our front legs, and we're going to go to the next one, and that's going to be our hind legs. They are smaller, but we're going to do some scaling. And if you go over a little bit more, and we've got this piece here, it's quite distinct. It's got these 2 little kind of nodules on the side. We're going to grab one of those, and the one next to it, you can differentiate it by the sort of 3 groove marks in it. So not this one, it's the one with the 3 grooves in it. So grab that one. Okay, so first up, a little bit hard to see where our pieces are, but if you take the front legs, what you want to do is increase the size by hitting 3 on the num tab if you've got the Place Everywhere mod, and you want to go up to 140%. Just make sure, is that the right size? Sometimes the message at the top doesn't appear. Now with the hind legs, we're going to make them slightly bigger, so we want to go 180%. Just like that. 2 more. Okay, we got our hind legs now. And with these pieces here, we just do a double tap. So 120. Just like that. Okay, so the first step in creating this, you want to grab a hind leg, because we want to position it in the correct, you know, like, so it's not clipping through the floor. So you want to find a spot where you want to put it. Grab a hind leg first. This is going to situate where the rest of the robot is going to go. And just using the kind of arrow, it's not the arrow, I'll show you a picture. Just rotate it into a position you want. Okay, so we want it kind of straight, and then just using those num keys from the place everywhere again, just move it until it touches the floor. Oh, wrong button. Okay, so about there. Alright, because the front legs are longer, they're much easier to place once the hind legs are done. So now, because you can only place the Kuro tab body in one go, I do one hind leg and then I've placed the body. So go to our body, and you want to, there's that kind of lumpy bit that comes kind of where the hip would go. You can see where I'll line it up here. If I just move it until it starts to clip like that, so you can see that's where I want the hip of it to go. Okay, and then I hit E, so now it's placed. So that's the hind leg and the body now placed. So what we want to do is grab the second hind leg and just rotate it into our position. Now you'll notice that the kind of the knee of the hind leg is facing forward, so you just got to make sure you're rotating it in the correct position, so you don't want it the other way around. Okay, so just lining it up with that hip again, and it's not quite touching the ground, it's pretty much there. It's not going to be perfect every time, so just sort of get it into a position where you kind of like. So this one is actually standing up quite tall. Typically I'll rotate the hind legs a little bit more so they're bent a little bit more, but it shouldn't give us any problem. Now with these ones here, you want the sort of shoulder to be tucked in underneath this part here, and that elbow piece is facing kind of the opposite of your arm. So I'll show you what that means if I just rotate it. And you can sort of play with the angles a little bit more with the front legs, I think. Just get them into a position where they can kind of get tucked in underneath there, but also touch the ground, kind of like that. And thankfully I can still select them because they are not from the Kuro tab. Okay, let's do the next one. Takes a little bit of practice using the place everywhere kind of rotate. Okay, I think we're basically there. So just tucking it in underneath there. I'm not super pedantic about it. As long as it kind of overall looks alright, then that's all good with me. Now, typically I will do the eyes around this time, just so we can situate these kind of shieldy bits a little bit better. So let's jump back into the Kuro tab. You can see where I am there, and actually we're not in robot components, we're actually in machinery, and you have to go all the way to the very end. Okay, we are at the very end now, and it's the 3D wall mounted projectors. So that's my on eyes and then off eyes. On, off, on, off. Okay, so this one is going to be on, and I sort of situate it kind of the edges of the eyes just where those sort of in the middle of those circle pieces on the main body. And this one should be able to be selected, as you can see, and just trying to make sure that it is in the middle. You can kind of tuck it down a little bit more, and you can see quite quickly, if you're familiar with the last video, the sentinels in that, it's starting to take shape now. Okay, now we do the shielding. Let's put this one here. Now this shielding needs to be kind of lined up with the back there. So using that place everywhere, rotate again. It's a little bit finicky, it's not my favorite thing to do, but just sort of line it up and then bring it down a little bit too far there. And we need to fix the rotation on the front because we are way off. And I like to sort of bring it down until it starts clipping with the body. So there is a little bit of a gap, and that's where I placed the kind of the movement detector from the last video. And it's still not quite sort of centrally located. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And then lastly, we've got this one here. The 3 lines go at the back, and we rotate it just to sort of match the kind of arch of the back there. Kind of like, you know, how a cat might squat to do its business. And then we just tuck it underneath the helmet piece there. And if we want it, we can sort of just make it a little bit more extreme. A little bit of clipping is kind of the name of the game here, as long as it gets into a better position. And now for some reason I can select the Rust Devil scrap body. Don't know why it sort of switches in between, but there we go. Now it'll want to not select anything else, so sometimes that can be annoying, and sometimes I'll just sort of delete the body and redo it. This piece here, I mean. But that is basically it. Now we want to put some guns on there. I'll actually use a separate mod, but this might actually have what we want. I don't actually use, because these are static pieces, I just sort of found a random gun, because we are going to use like something else. But this looks kind of cool, so I'll just put that there anyway, because the end of the barrel there, or sorry, the start of the barrel kind of lines up nicely to that, and that looks pretty badass. Oh, we are not quite in line, but as you can see there, it just wants to select that piece, unfortunately, because it still looks pretty cool. Alright, so at the moment the robot by itself is basically complete, but we want to make it so it actually does stuff like shooting if a bad guy comes around here. So what I did was I went back to the CVC Dead Wastelands mod, and if you go to resources and then go over to defense, and then there's guard NPCs. Now you've got a dog, and you can get these sort of dog NPCs or whatever, but it also gives you these turrets, which are great because they are very small, you can see here, and they produce a decent amount of defense. So I'm going to use this one. It's a CVC machine gun turret, so I'm going to place that one down, and I am going to shrink it a little bit. Now if you shrink it too much, the kind of flame that the gun makes when it shoots is also smaller, so it doesn't look as cool, so just be cognizant of that. And I'm going to hide it inside the body, so I'm going to spin it around this way. So we want to spin it 180 like so. Now when an enemy comes, it should sort of rotate itself to be firing at the enemy, so we don't have to worry too much about sort of getting it in line that way. And I just sort of tuck it under here where it's a little bit visible, because I noticed that sometimes it does conflict with the body, but it should work now as an actual defensive post. So I'm going to place some bad guy NPCs and just see if that kind of works for us. Alrighty, I have just spawned some feral ghouls. You can see 3 of them are going to pop up when I jump out of the console menu, so let's just see what happens. Well, as you can see, it cleared them out in pretty short order. So that one is working well. You can see the little turret under there is scanning. But yes, that's basically the build process of the Sentinel. Now, if there are any smart cookies that are watching this video that know their way around the creation kit, please go ahead and make a mod of this if you wish. And if you do, please drop a comment below with a link or something so that the rest of us can go check it out. I've made about 30 of these in-game, and having a mod where I can just quickly place them down would be very convenient. But if you enjoyed this little tutorial, please drop us a like and a subscription if you're feeling extra generous. And please go check out my previous video where you get a little bit of a cinematic of the whole rise of the Sentinels within the Commonwealth. And if you're on Discord, go check out the link on the main channel page. Get over there, share your own Fallout 4 builds, and just get involved. With all that said, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Have an awesome day!